All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of brisket and barbecue, all stars and law. This is All In Colts, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. The Colts offense continued to struggle with Flacco, while the defense shined bright in primetime against the Vikings. We will go over all aspects of the game, including our Mayflower Move and Stars of the game. So, let's go. All In Colts.
Yes, I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam, and we are the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Oh, yeah. Injury report. Any injuries? Pitt, maybe?
Yeah, it looked like he might be in concussion protocol from what I saw. It wasn't quite as bad as Steelers last year, for sure.
Yeah. But still, looks like it must have hurt.
Yeah, and, I didn't think there was any need for a flag on it. It wasn't dirty. It just, he got squeezed. Between a couple guys and got a shoulder to the head, I think. So,
yeah.
Narrative. Here we go.
Yep. Colts' first drive went well until they fumbled the handoff. They were looking so strong. I was like, they're moving down really well against a good defense.
Run, pass, and then, some struggles of what might happen with a new quarterback. Simple handoffs, simple stuff, just because it hasn't been repped, since OTAs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The defense held strong in the first half, while the offense struggled to get consistent rhythm. Had some bright spots here and there, just couldn't stay on the field, sustain drives. Some of the same kind of stuff we've been seeing all season.
Held a top offense in the league to 0 points.
Yep.
Would have been 6, but they missed 2 field goals. I don't know if you saw it, but the guy was like getting his leg wrapped and stuff on the sideline, so it looked like he was hurt.
Yeah.
But held the offense, regardless of the kicks, he held the offense to 0 points, which is the bend, don't break defense I have been talking about all year.
Yep. The kickers struggled. They went 0 for 3 in that first half.
Yeah. Second half changed into a more typical Vikings offense, and the defensive pressure started to get to the Colts. Still didn't perform bad. They looked like they were performing pretty well. Defensive line on both sides of the ball, on both teams, were eating up.
Yep. Well, and I would say that the Colts had better pressure, but the Vikings defense is so much of a mental game because what they look like versus what they are post snap is so difficult to figure out that it wears on you over time, that you just get so tired of every play having to diagnose everything that's going on all the time. Let's see, where are we at? The Vikings then started the second half with 2 touchdown drives on their first 2 drives.
Yep. Then Joe Flacco threw an interception, which I was like, oh, come on. This is not what I needed. But very next play, Nick Cross comes up with one of his own. They traded interceptions, and the Colts capitalized with a Matt Gay field goal to cut the Vikings lead to only 4. So you get the ball back, you need a touchdown, you're in the lead.
Yep. The Colts then missed a late 4th down conversion.
Trey Sermon was wide open in the flats. Literally, I saw him go out. I'm like,
I know.
Sermon.
Yep.
And then Joe Flacco goes.
And that's the second dump down that he missed. There was a 3rd and 8 that he went for Pitt again, right toward the marker, but over to his right where he wasn't looking. JT was just wide open with space in front of him.
Yeah.
He had maybe, in the land of 10,000 lakes, he probably had at least 20 lakes in front of him. He could have run for the first down. So that's 2 dump offs that old man Flacco missed.
And you'd think he would find those because of how long he's played in the league. Be smart, take the stuff whenever you know it, don't force anything. You weren't in a position where you have to force anything there.
he's a little older and slower, I think. Just saying.
Yeah.
Um,
That missed fourth down
Yep.
conversion led to Aaron Jones pounding it down the field. Just keep on going. Very frustrating.
Yep. And a surprise pass led to a Josh Oliver touchdown after Shane Steichen had used 2 of his timeouts on the plus side of the 2-minute warning. That was puzzling to me.
Not terrible clock management, but just odd.
When you're only down 4, I get it. To me, what that communicated was, I don't trust my defense in this situation, nor do I trust my offense to be able to execute well.
Yeah.
Bad deal if in 1 week your head coach can't speak for the whole team and doesn't trust either of his phases, offense or defense.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good
And
look.
then finally, Flacco getting sacked 3 times.
Yep.
On the last drive did not help at all with clock management.
Yep. They squeezed in the field goal there to make it 13-21 at the end.
Yep.
Time for the stat sheet. Joe Flacco went 16 for 27, 179, no touchdowns, 1 interception. I believe his passer rating was 68 something, 63 something like it's in the 60s up until it was hovering around in the 50s there for a little bit. For what it's worth.
Yeah. Sam Darnold went 28 for 34, only missed 6 passes, had 290 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions.
Yep. Justin Jefferson had 137 yards on 7 catches.
Not
because
much.
He's Justin Jefferson.
Not much you can do against the best wide receiver in the league.
Nope.
Josh First Downs, though, had 6 for 60 yards, so pretty solid day for him.
Yeah. Alec Pierce added 41 on 3 catches.
Yep. JT had 48 yards on 13 carries.
Yep. While Aaron Jones had 21 carries for only 64 yards. So not that great, but Cam Akers added 46 yards on only 6 carries.
Yep. EJ Speed, 12 tackles, 2 of them were for loss.
Yep. Nick Cross had 10 and that interception you mentioned.
Yep. Buck and Quiddy each had a sack. Grover Stewart had 2 sacks, including the strip sack. There was a tweet or something or on X or Instagram, one of the two, that was sent out by JJ Watt about the dream sack for Grover Stewart, being that he got it. He pancaked the offensive lineman, continued to run over him, sacked the quarterback, also being a strip sack, and they scored a touchdown off of it.
Yep.
He said that was the
check. Yep. All of it. So that's great from the best player from the team from Houston ever. Not the first one to get in the Hall of Fame.
No, but the best one.
The best one. We can recognize that. Andre Johnson, you should have waited your turn for Reggie Wayne.
What are your...
Oh, okay. You asked me first. Go ahead.
Yeah. What are your intangibles for this game?
Okay. One of these I didn't quite look up, so I'm going to look this up while I talk, if I can do that. Penalties. Okay. I can't type and do this at the same time. Colts, Vikings, box score. All right. Penalties. They were backbreaking, let's be honest. Stalled out drives early on, just not good at all. The Colts had 7 penalties for 50 yards compared to 3 for 41 for
one of those being a DPI, though. So
right.
So that's where all the extra yard comes from.
Right. Like, and it one of those was should have been a hold, but then turned into a chop block personal foul against Jonathan Taylor because
If
the player
someone's
looked
already
unblocked.
engaged,
Right, he looked unblocked, and all of a sudden, Gonzalez came over and gave him just a chip right as JT got there. I'm like,
I
by the
in my
letter of the
opinion, I
law,
think I saw JT get there first and initiate the cut block before he was even there. But Gonzalez did make contact before JT did, but
Right.
JT was initiating the block
It's
already, so there's
just-
not much you can do at that point.
yeah, like, and like, we're not gonna pick on the refs. This isn't a Chiefs game, but I mean, you have that many penalties, that's going to be a problem,
Sure.
especially when they are drive killers, and all of a sudden you end up with a second down and 30. That's hard to overcome.
Yeah.
And then just the lack of pace and screen game hurt the offensive movement. What I talked about in our preview was how to beat this defense was to go quick game on the slants and things like that. There were moments where they did with Josh first downs and some quick screens and things that worked well, but they didn't do it on a consistent basis. And what was the problem? They didn't have consistency on the offense. And I think that's what it comes down to. But then points off turnovers, 10-0. I believe. I don't believe that a single one of the Vikings points was off of a turnover.
I don't think so.
Correct me if I'm wrong there.
I don't believe so, no.
So 10-0 points off turnovers. There you go. The last one has been a struggle for the Colts all season, and that is time of possession. It's gotten better, but now is back to almost 37 minutes to 23.
They had the ball for a whole 2.5 drives longer than
I mean, it's not as bad as 40-20 or less than 20, like the Houston first game, week 1. But you can't win the game if you can't stay on the field offensively.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
some of mine.
Yeah.
They lost the turnover battle. Imagine that. They lost by 1, so which is probably why it was such a close game. Also,
Yep.
Still a 1-possession game.
Yep. 8 is still 1 possession. Yep.
It's not like we're in basketball. 4 points is still 1-possession game because you can hit a 3 with a foul.
Right.
That hardly ever happens.
Yeah. 2-point conversion is more. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, off topic, kind of. I've been watching a lot of March Madness stuff recently.
Oh, replays?
From last year. Getting so hyped for college basketball. Not that I'm giving up on the Colts or the Pacers or anything like that. Just college basketball season.
I mean, you work the field. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
College football's coming to a close, so college basketball's coming up.
I tell you what, while we're off topic, we were this Colts game away from everything going correctly for all of our teams this week.
Mm-hmm.
Because IU football won.
Yep.
And then Oregon football won. Mm-hmm. Not that that's good necessarily for IU, but having lived in Oregon, we follow Oregon. We like Oregon. I like Dylan Gabriel.
Really?
And they've got a couple good running backs that are really good as well. But then Clemson lost, Iowa State lost, A&M lost, and Penn State lost.
Did you see where IU is now?
In front of IU. Yes, but the real college football playoff rankings don't come out till Tuesday. AP polls out, and they've moved up to 10th.
AP roll is 8. Coach poll is 10.
Okay.
So they'll probably be 8 to 10.
I always go, worst case scenario. So 10th, right? In the college football playoffs. as it stands right now. So,
Yep.
but Michigan, Ohio State, and then
We
I
have to go
don't care
to
how
Ohio
bad
State.
I don't care how bad Purdue is.
Purdue always wants to ruin IU's
No,
dreams.
they would like if IU can go in there and still be undefeated. Purdue would love nothing better than to play spoiler. So, 3 tough games all still to go, but IU has the widest margin of victory in all of college football.
Yep.
And they've only ever trailed by 10 for a few minutes
And all of football for that matter, because the NFL isn't that wide margins.
True. It's just different and easier.
Mhm.
And it's just different.
It's just different in college, yeah.
So and then I was at the Baylor game and Baylor won, our local Waco team. So
stormed the field as well.
Stormed the field, upset against a rival on a last-second field goal by a guy who missed an extra point earlier in the game. So that was pretty epic. Got to watch that from the PA booth. Shout out to Derek Smith
over here.
Yep.
He's been on the podcast a couple times. Jake, he was one of them that stormed the field.
Oh, was he out there?
Yep. Yeah. He was there.
Yeah. Derek told him not to, but they didn't listen.
No.
I'm just thankful that they didn't do something crazy with the goalposts and things like that.
Oh yeah, no, they didn't just steal the goalposts. That would have been hilarious though.
Anyway, all that to say we were this close to a perfect sports weekend for us and our teams.
Can't win them all.
Apparently can't.
I mean, fantasy football went well for me. That's for a different episode.
We will talk about that Thursday, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other intangibles from you?
They didn't run the ball enough, in my opinion. Only 13 carries for JT. Should have been more. I believe I texted you one time. I'm like, I called it. They should have ran there. It was like 3rd and 4, something like that. I'm like, with the way they're lined up, I know those two are dropping back. You run the ball right where they're dropping back from, and they have to try to go back forward and make that tackle. And JT's going to get them. Like they're not making a tackle on them. That's an easy. They did have some runs.
They did have some runs toward the end that I was like, okay, all right, we're cracking. I thought he was right there to maybe crack one open, but didn't happen.
He was. I think you give him 3-4 more runs. He hits a long one.
Yeah,
and that's kind of you just got to keep going until then, though.
Yeah, that's the problem. They just weren't able to sustain long enough. There was that 4th down that they had to pick up, and that just didn't happen.
Yeah. But even in the first half, they started passing the ball a lot. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
you are one of the best run offenses in the league once you actually get going,
and you're up,
and you're winning.
Yeah,
run the ball, waste the time.
Yeah.
Let JT crack one. If he gets a 50-yard run, you are in opposing territory. That's just how it is.
So what's your Mayflower move then?
Mayflower move?
Oh, sorry.
No,
you there yet?
That was all my intangibles.
There you go.
Mayflower move. I have 2 things here. I have 2 honorable mentions, then 1 actual Mayflower move. 1, I'm not saying it because it was so early in the game, being the first drive, the fumbled handoff. I can't imagine how different that game would have been if we would have scored a touchdown there. Because with the way it was looking, we were going to score a touchdown. We start with momentum and all that stuff. Second honorable mention was the Grove strip sack and the Kenny Scoopin score. Obviously, that didn't have much effect anywhere else other than that was our only touchdown of the game. But it still put us in the lead, made us in the lead through halftime. But my real my real Mayflower move, I think, is going to be whenever Kevin O'Connell made a gutsy decision not to throw the ball in second and 11, threw a touchdown to Isaiah Oliver. I don't like it being for the other team, but that was a really good call. He knew they were going to stack the box. The announcers were literally like, they're probably not going to risk it with the troubles they've had in the passing game, yet they risked it, and they got a touchdown, the game-sealing touchdown off of it. Although I want to point out real quick that Rigoberto Sanchez onside kick, that was such a good kick. I watched that. I'm like, I wish I could do that. Rigo played phenomenally today, like he always does.
He had one touchback. So that's
I was like,
of him.
well, it's so hard to put spin on the ball, the right spin on the ball. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Ashton was almost there. He almost got to it too.
I know. Okay, my Mayflower move. I am gonna say I'm gonna give some honorable mentions as well. The Zaire Franklin interception. Like, here you have the best tackler since 2022, most tackles in the NFL, and here he is out in coverage. Way to go, Gus Bradley, putting him out in coverage, dropping deep, catching the ball in the end zone, and still having the mentality to go, I'm going to kneel it down and not try to, like, run it out because I'm, after talking and in the middle of before he kept talking to Aaron Jones and anybody who would listen, I'm going to talk your ear off. He doesn't get enough talking on his podcast. He's got to talk all the time.
Yep.
But then to just do such a Zaire thing and just skull him up. Get me all fired up early in the game. I like that. So honorable mention to that one. Also honorable mention to that Nick Cross interception back, like that get back interception.
I didn't
because
see
he undercut Justin Jefferson there. That's something that had been needed to be happening many more times. Like, if you're going to double cover him, it doesn't make sense to double cover him and both be behind him. Somebody needs to undercut the route, and Nick Cross finally did. Like, to get back an interception with an interception on the very next play, oh, that is so great.
Sadly, I didn't see that. I looked away because I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a timeout, but it didn't go to a commercial break.
Because it was like
I'm like, what is this? And then I was paying attention to something else, and I was doing this because I was watching on the Chromebook, so I had one ear out, so I could pay attention to what else I was doing. And then I hear just a loud roar. I look, I'm like, Nick Cross has the ball. What?
Yep.
I'm like, wait, he doesn't play special teams. What happened?
My true Mayflower move, though, would have to go to the Joe Flacco fourth quarter interception.
Yeah.
I know that there was some movement after that because that's right at the beginning of the fourth. And Nick Cross got it right back. But, yeah, you know what? No. That's honorable mention too. I just to be different than you, I'm going to give it to the onside kick.
Okay.
Because the other thing you didn't point out was the two people that were right there for the ball were the two 50-50 best receiver grab the ball at the high point on either team. It was Justin Jefferson and Pierce, who just didn't quite have enough position because I think he got chop blocked or, chip blocked, whatever. It wasn't illegal, but he couldn't quite get the right angle. Otherwise, that's a beauty. And you got literally like, what are the chances you get two 50-50 ball receivers going up for the same ball? That never happens on a field because you have a corner and a receiver. So to get Pierce versus Jefferson, I want to see that off a jugs machine and see what really would happen there, because I know Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson, but I think we have seen that Alec Pierce is Alec Pierce, and not many people know that. I would have loved to have seen that.
And so I think it was Pierce, but I don't know. Someone gave Justin Jefferson a good hit afterwards too, trying to jar the ball loose. So props to JJ for holding on to it afterwards. He looks skinny in pads, but he can sure take a hit.
Yeah. Who's your star of the game then?
Star of the game. I don't know. It's either Grove or Nick. I'm not gonna do two. I've told myself I'm not gonna do two unless it's like the offensive line as a unit.
I think I heard them say this is Grove's first. I don't know if it's first, but like one of only a few double sack games that he's had in his career.
Yeah, great game for him.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna give it to Nick Cross because he was up there and leader for tackles. Also had the interception, the kind of like I'll call it the karma interception. Not that they did anything, but just they got an interception, so we're going to get one back. So I think that was a big momentum switch, and the game kind of gave me hope. Like I continue to talk about Colts season, hope, no hope, hope, no hope, hope, no. It's just a roller coaster of emotions. So yeah.
Yep. It's the hope that kills us. We were ready to jump on for the last 2 minutes.
We were ready.
Then, Josh Oliver got that touchdown. We were like, well, I guess we don't need to do that. Mm-hmm. Although we'd have regretted it had Alec Pierce come up with that and actually made a game of it there at the end. My start of the game, Kenny Moore.
I like it.
Six tackles, 1 for a loss. He was absolutely everywhere. I know only 6 tackles, but he seemed to just be everywhere around the ball. Had the huge tackle on Hawkinson, had a tackle for loss on Aaron Jones, I believe, or Cam Akers. I can't remember which one. And, of course, scored the only touchdown for the Colts in the game. That to me says you're going to be a star of the game.
Mm-hmm. So. Also, not to mention, there's a screen route that went to Justin Jefferson. Kenny was getting blocked on, still getting blocked, yet pulls Justin Jefferson down. Right. I think there was only a couple times where they lined JJ up in the slot. He got the ball 0 times whenever he was in the slot.
I mean, whenever
Kenny was guarding him, at least.
It's not
and
too
the
many
only time
times
that Kenny was in the area, he got tackled.
Yep. Not too many times that you can take on Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson at the same time and win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kenny Moore did it.
Yep. Great job.
Well, that is it. Around the AFC South. Later this week, we will have our Unstable Pick 6 Fantasy Stable, our preview, our stable where we take a look at Colts fantasy stats and projections. And our preview later this week, the Colts hosting yet another old AFC East opponent, the Bills, with a huge AFC South playoff implications.
Yep, this is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.